In the shadowed depths of ancient temples, carved into stone that has witnessed millennia pass like fleeting moments, serpentine forms coil through the collective memory of humanity. Their eyes gleam with primordial wisdom. Their scales shimmer with the promise of both creation and destruction. These are the Naga, the great serpent beings of the East, whose legends stretch across cultures and centuries like the mighty rivers they are said to guard. Long before the first human settlements rose along the banks of sacred waters, before the earliest temples reached toward heaven, the Naga moved through the world as guardians of the cosmic order. In the twilight realm between myth and reality, between the seen and unseen, they have woven themselves into the very fabric of Eastern spirituality, becoming both feared deities and revered protectors. The word itself carries power. Naga, derived from the Sanskrit root meaning serpent, echoes through the languages of India, Southeast Asia, and beyond. Yet to call them merely serpents would be to diminish their true nature. For the Naga are beings of profound duality, embodying the eternal dance between wisdom and danger, between the life-giving waters and the depths that can swallow the unwary. In the beginning, when the world was young and the boundaries between realms were thin as morning mist, the cosmic ocean churned with primordial forces. From these depths emerged Shesha, the thousand-headed serpent king, whose coils would come to support the very foundations of existence. Upon his back, the god Vishnu would rest during the cosmic night, and from his breath would spring the universe itself. The ancient texts speak of this great churning, the Samudra Manthan. When gods and demons join forces to extract the nectar of immortality from the ocean's depths, the Naga played a crucial role in this cosmic event, their serpent king Vasuki serving as the rope around Mount Mandara, the churning rod that would agitate the cosmic waters and bring forth both poison and amrita, the elixir of eternal life. As the churning commenced, Vasuki's breath became so toxic that it threatened to destroy all creation. The god Shiva, in his infinite compassion, consumed this poison, his throat turning blue from the deadly draught. This act of sacrifice established the Naga not merely as creatures of destruction, but as necessary participants in the cosmic balance, their very venom serving the greater good of existence. The earliest Hindu scriptures, the Vedas, speak of the Naga with reverence and awe. They are the Ahi, the great serpents who control the waters of life. Without their blessing, the rains would not come, the rivers would not flow, and the earth would wither into dust. They guard the treasures hidden beneath the earth, the precious gems and metals that form the bones of the world itself. In the epic Mahabharata, the Naga emerge as complex characters in the grand drama of human destiny. Vasuki appears not only as the cosmic serpent, but as a wise counselor, while other Naga interact with heroes and gods, sometimes as allies, sometimes as formidable opponents. Their underground realm, Patala, is described as a paradise more beautiful than heaven itself, where precious stones light the darkness and the Naga live in splendor beyond human imagination. The Buddha himself would encounter these serpent beings during his path to enlightenment. As he sat beneath the Bodhi tree, the great Naga king Mukalinda rose from the earth to shelter the meditating sage from a fierce storm. For 7 days, the serpent spread his mighty hood over the future Buddha, protecting him from the elements while he achieved perfect awakening. This act of devotion established the Naga as protectors of the Dharma, the cosmic law that governs all existence. Buddhism would carry the Naga tradition across the Himalayas and throughout Southeast Asia, where these serpent beings would merge with local traditions and take on new forms. In Thailand, they became the Fire Naga, great water dragons whose undulating bodies could be seen in the meandering course of the Mekong River itself. The temple architecture of the region reflects their importance, with Naga balustrades and guardian serpents adorning the approaches to sacred spaces. The Khmer civilization of Cambodia elevated the Naga to extraordinary heights of reverence. At Angkor Wat, the cosmic temple that mirrors the structure of the universe itself, Naga sculptures line the causeway leading to the central sanctuary. These are not mere decorations, but profound spiritual symbols, representing the rainbow bridge that connects the earthly realm with the divine. The Naga here are seven-headed beings, their multiple faces watching over all directions, ensuring that no evil can approach the sacred precincts. In the Khmer creation myth, the first kingdom was established through the union of a human prince and a Naga princess. Their love story became the foundation legend of the Cambodian people, establishing the royal bloodline as descendants of both human nobility and serpent divinity. This marriage between terrestrial and aquatic realms symbolized the harmony necessary for a kingdom to flourish. The great temples of Angkor tell the story of the Naga through stone and space. The approach to Angkor Thom is guarded by massive stone serpents held aloft by rows of gods and demons, recreating the cosmic churning in architectural form. Visitors walking these ancient causeways participate in a ritual journey from the ordinary world into the realm of the sacred, crossing the metaphysical bridge that the Naga represent. Across the mountains in Myanmar, the Naga take on different characteristics while maintaining their essential nature as water guardians. Here they are called Thay, and their influence can be seen in the Great Shwedagon Pagoda, where serpent imagery adorns the sacred precincts. The Myanmar Naga are often depicted with more humanoid characteristics, beautiful beings who can transform between serpent and human form at will. In the kingdom of Nepal, nestled among the highest peaks of the world, the Naga are revered as the original inhabitants of the Kathmandu Valley. Legend tells that the valley was once a great lake, ruled by the Naga king. When the Bodhisattva Manjushri came to the valley, he cut through the mountains with his flaming sword, draining the waters and creating the fertile land where human civilization would flourish. The Naga, rather than fleeing, chose to remain as protectors of the valley, blessing it with prosperity and abundance. The newer people of the Kathmandu Valley maintain elaborate rituals honoring the Naga to this day. During the monsoon season, when the serpent beings are said to be most active, offerings of milk and flowers are made at sacred ponds and springs. The Naga Panchami festival transforms the valley into a living temple, where every household participates in honoring these ancient guardians. The architectural marvels of Kathmandu bear witness to the enduring reverence for the Naga. The ancient palaces and temples are adorned with serpent imagery so intricate and beautiful that they seem to move in the shifting light. The famous Naga Pokhari, serpent pools, can be found throughout the valley, serving as both practical water sources and sacred spaces where the boundary between the human and Naga worlds grows thin. In the dense jungles of Indonesia, the Naga tradition merged with local animistic beliefs to create unique variations of the serpent. Mythology. Here, the Naga are not only water guardians, but protectors of the forest realm. Their coils intertwined with the great trees that form the canopy of the tropical paradise. The ancient Javanese epics speak of Naga kings who ruled underwater kingdoms of unimaginable wealth and beauty. The island of Bali presents perhaps one of the most vibrant continuing traditions of Naga worship. The Balinese Naga, called Boma or Antabaga, are central to the island's spiritual and cultural life. They appear in temple carvings, dance performances, and daily rituals, their presence ensuring the harmony between the spiritual and material worlds. The famous Dragon Bridge at Taman Iron Temple shows the Naga in all their glory, their bodies forming the very structure that allows passage over sacred waters. The Chinese dragon tradition, while distinct from the Indian Naga, shares common ancestry with these serpent beings. The Chinese Long are also water controllers, bringers of rain, and guardians of wisdom. In the regions where Indian Buddhism penetrated Chinese culture, the Naga and dragon traditions merged, creating hybrid beings that embodied the best of both mythologies. In the remote mountain kingdoms of Bhutan, the Naga are known as Lu, and they remain active participants in the spiritual life of the people. Bhutanese tradition holds that disturbing the Lu through environmental destruction or disrespectful behavior can result in diseases and misfortunes. This belief has made Bhutan one of the most environmentally conscious nations in the world, as the protection of nature is literally a matter of spiritual survival. The healing traditions of the East have long recognized the dual nature of the Naga as both poisoners and healers. Their venom, which can bring death, also contains the power to cure when properly understood and applied. Traditional medicine practitioners invoke the Naga in their healing rituals, recognizing that true healing often requires confronting and transforming the very forces that cause illness. The yogic traditions of India speak of the Kundalini, the serpent power that lies coiled at the base of the human spine. This inner Naga represents the dormant spiritual energy within every human being. When awakened through proper practice and discipline, this serpent energy rises through the chakras, the energy centers of the body, ultimately reaching the crown of the head and conferring enlightenment. The human being thus becomes a living temple, with the Naga energy serving as both the guardian and the guided force of transformation. Medieval texts from across the region describe encounters with the Naga in terms that blur the line between myth and historical account. Travelers speak of seeing great serpents in sacred lakes, their jeweled hoods gleaming in the moonlight. Monks describe visions of Naga kings offering protection to monasteries, while royal chronicles record diplomatic missions to underwater kingdoms, where Naga rulers held court in coral palaces. The tantric traditions of both Hinduism and Buddhism developed elaborate practices involving the Naga energies. These advanced practitioners learned to work with the serpent forces within their own bodies and minds, using the Naga symbolism as a map for navigating the subtle realms of consciousness. The famous tantric text, the Havajra Tantra, describes meditation practices where the practitioner visualizes themselves as a Naga deity. embodying the wisdom and power of these ancient beings. The artistic traditions of the region have preserved the Naga mythology in forms of breathtaking beauty and spiritual power. From the bronze sculptures of Chola dynasty India to the wood carvings of Thai temples, artists have sought to capture not just the physical form of the Naga, but their essential spiritual nature. These artworks serve as more than decoration. They are windows into other realms, focal points for meditation and worship that connect the observer with the cosmic forces. The Naga represent the dance traditions of Southeast Asia, bring the Naga myths to life through movement and music. The classical dance forms of Cambodia, Thailand, and Indonesia feature elaborate Naga dances, where performers embody the serpent beings through graceful, undulating movements that mirror the flow of water and the coiling of serpents. These performances are not mere entertainment, but ritual enactments that maintain the connection between the human and Naga worlds. In the modern era, as urbanization and industrialization transform the landscapes of the East, the Naga traditions face new challenges. Ancient lakes are drained for development, sacred groves are cleared for agriculture, and the old ways of honoring the water spirits are forgotten by younger generations. Yet in many places, the Naga traditions show remarkable resilience, adapting to modern circumstances while maintaining their essential spiritual functions. Contemporary environmental movements in the region often draw upon Naga symbolism and mythology, recognizing that these ancient traditions contain profound ecological wisdom. The reverence for water sources, the understanding of interconnectedness between all life forms, and the recognition of nature as sacred are all elements of Naga mythology that speak directly to modern environmental concerns. Scientific researchers studying the biodiversity of South and Southeast Asia have noted the correlation between areas with strong Naga traditions and regions of exceptional ecological richness. The sacred groves protected in the name of the Naga often preserve species that have vanished elsewhere. The traditional prohibition against polluting waters sacred to the Naga has maintained the health of numerous river systems and lakes. The psychological dimension of the Naga mythology continues to fascinate modern scholars. The serpent as a symbol of transformation, wisdom, and the unconscious mind appears in the depth psychology of Carl Jung and his followers. The Naga represent the archetypal forces that guide human development from the depths of the psyche, the primordial wisdom that must be integrated for true psychological wholeness. In the realm of comparative mythology, scholars have traced the Naga motifs across cultures and continents, finding serpent deities and water guardians in civilizations that had no direct contact with each other. This universality of the serpent archetype suggests something fundamental about human consciousness and its relationship with the natural world. The medical traditions that grew up around Naga mythology have contributed significantly to the pharmacological knowledge of the world. Many modern medicines have their origins in traditional remedies that were developed through understanding the dual nature of serpent venom as both poison and cure. The caduceus, the serpent-entwined staff that serves as a symbol of medicine, connects directly to this ancient understanding of the Naga's healing powers. The merchant traditions of the East carried Naga symbolism along the trade routes that connected Asia with the rest of the world. Naga motifs appear in the art and architecture of regions far from their original homeland, testament to the power of these myths to transcend cultural boundaries and speak to universal human experiences. The coming of European colonialism brought new challenges to the Naga traditions, as Western rational materialism clashed with indigenous spiritual beliefs. Yet many colonial administrators and scholars found themselves fascinated by the rich mythology and sophisticated spiritual practices associated with the Naga. Their writings, while often filtered through Western perspectives, preserved much knowledge that might otherwise have been lost. The independence movements of the 20th century often drew upon Naga symbolism as a source of cultural identity and resistance. The serpent beings, as guardians of the land and protectors of ancient wisdom, became symbols of the fight to preserve indigenous culture against foreign domination. Today, as the peoples of South and Southeast Asia navigate the challenges of globalization and modernity, the Naga traditions continue to evolve and adapt. New forms of Naga worship emerge in urban temples, where city dwellers seek connection with these ancient forces of nature and wisdom. Digital age interpretations of Naga mythology appear in films, video games, and online communities, introducing these ancient beings to new generations around the world. The environmental crisis of the modern world has given new urgency to the Naga tradition's emphasis on water protection and ecological balance, as climate change threatens the river systems and water sources that the Naga were said to guard. Their mythology provides both a framework for understanding environmental interconnectedness and a spiritual motivation for conservation efforts. In the end, the Naga represents something eternal in human consciousness. The recognition that wisdom often comes from the depths. That transformation requires confronting our fears, and that the forces of nature deserve not just respect, but reverence. They remind us that water is life, that the earth has guardians older than human memory, and that the seen and unseen worlds are more intimately connected than our rational minds might suppose. As we face an uncertain future, the Naga call us back to an ancient understanding of our place in the web of existence. They whisper of the need for balance, for respect, for the recognition that human prosperity depends upon the health of the natural world. In their coils lie not just the treasures of the earth, but the wisdom necessary for human survival and spiritual evolution. The great serpent beings of the East continue their eternal vigil, guardians of waters and wisdom, keepers of the cosmic balance. Their eyes still gleam in the depths of sacred pools. Their presence still blesses the prayers of the faithful, and their mythology still offers guidance for those who seek to understand the deeper mysteries of existence. In honoring the Naga, we honor the ancient contract between humanity and nature, the sacred relationship that must be maintained if both are to flourish in the ages to come.